When you think of a monopoly, you think of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, you think of McDonald's. You generally tend to not think of a government-run alcohol store. But that's exactly what we have here in Toronto, Ontario, from where I'm streaming to you live. Yes, folks, we are stuck with only buying our alcohol from the corrupt government-run alcohol stores, and we are not allowed to have private liquor stores in one of the biggest cities in North America. I am going to play two different clips from three different mainstream news organizations that are talking about a strike that's going on amongst BC liquor workers. And they're unionized, of course. And I did not even know that BC also had the same kind of corruption that we have here in Ontario, where we're stuck with buying liquor only from the government-run stores. And you can't buy alcohol past 5 p.m. on a Sunday in Toronto, which is one of the biggest cities, not only in North America, but in the world. Let's get into this.
The province's liquor is stuck on...
And before I even start this, I haven't seen any of them. I think I saw one of these. The other two I have not. So full disclosure, but I know they're going to be all singing the same tune.
Warehouse pallets as union members at a BC liquor distribution branch march out of their workplace in Delta Monday afternoon and at 3 other locations in BC.
Inflation is impacting all of us right now, as is the cost of living, and so we urge everyone who's impacted by...
And what's causing the inflation? They'll never say it. They'll never say it's the corrupt federal government and the corrupt Bank of Canada. They're just printing money, and that devalues the money that you already have in the economy. This is basic economics, but they're never going to tell you that.
By this, to contact the government and urge them.
By the way, these all are mainstream news channels. I'm not so sure about City News, but I know CBC and CTV are funded by the government, so they never say anything bad about the government. Yes, folks, not only do we have a monopoly when it comes to liquor that is run by the government, our news organizations are also monopolies that are run by the government. And because they're funded by the government, they never say anything bad about the government. Surprise, surprise.
Them to come to the table with a meaningful offer that offers meaningful cost of living adjustment.
These guys are unionized. So these are unionized workers. I just learned this. Just like with the LCBO here in Toronto. I know I said it incorrectly in the beginning of the video. It's actually pronounced Toronto. The last T is silent. That's how you know someone is from Toronto, or if they're an outsider, is how they say Toronto. So we have the same thing here in Ontario, where LCBO, which is the government-run store, has its own unionized workers, and it's massively corrupt, and they're extremely overpaid. All they do is bag alcohol, just like the grocery workers do, but they make 2, sometimes 3 times as much as regular cashiers. And it's off everybody else's dime. We pay 2-3 times the price of alcohol here than Americans do. A bottle of Crown Royal, which is made in Canada, is cheaper in Detroit than it is here in Toronto. And it's massively corrupt. We get ripped off massively for the prices as consumers, and we're stuck with a set schedule that all LCBO stores have. So when they close, they're all closed. You have no other options.
Protection.
And on top of that, the workers are unionized. They get paid $20 to $25 plus benefits, and they have job security. And all they do is bag bottles. Most of them are rude. Not all. I've met some. I've come across some helpful LCBO workers, but most of them are rude. They frown at you or look at you sideways if you ask them what aisle a certain bottle is in. And that's because they have job security. They know they're not going to get fired. While if you do that at a private liquor store run by, a private owner, like a real business, you get fired for providing bad service. But that does not happen at the LCBO. And I'm sure it doesn't happen at the BC liquor stores. These guys are unionized, they're overpaid, and They are on strike now because they're still complaining, even though all they do is bag bottles and they want more money. And that's inherently what unions do. Unions destroy any business that they get a hold of. Look at what happened to the American car industry. Detroit was one of the richest places in all of America. Now it's one of the poorest cities in all of America because unions came in and they destroyed all the car manufacturers. And they started making shit cars, and it got worse and worse, and now we know what happened there.
For workers in this province.
The BCGEU has rejected an 11% wage increase over 3 years. In a statement, Minister Ravi Kahlon says the province is committed to reaching a fair and reasonable agreement, pointing at the NDP's shared recovery mandate, which includes a $2,500 upfront payment to help with costs right now. As the province's liquor workers crack on with their strike for better pay, other public sectors in BC are dealing with big hiccups in service. BC Ferries has warned its customers about rolling delays and cancellations this summer as it grapples with a mariner shortage, competing with the...
All they have to do is privatize the market and this problem would go away. But no, they can't do that because that would make too much sense. And most Canadians are very, very passive and, to be honest, goofy people.
Whole world for crew members. Some of the passengers...
The Canadians, an average Canadian, not me so much, but an average Canadian would literally put up with anything. Anything.
Waiting here at the Tsawwassen Ferry Terminal, feeling the pain.
Yeah, I kind of figured it would be this long.
We came through the gate at 9:30.
And how you feeling?
Not too great about it.
Quite exhausted, really. Just wanted to be on the island already.
We were stuck in traffic at the tunnel, and then they told us that we should get on here, but I see everybody going ahead of us, which I think is grossly unfair.
Man, this woman looks and sounds like such a Karen. Maybe she's a nice lady, but bro, she sounds and looks exactly like a Karen.
The ratio of public servants to our province's population.
You know what? She looks like a retired Karen. What the fuck happened? Oh no. I think God's pissed off because I'm making fun of an old lady. Okay.
And the
Let's
ratio
continue.
of public servants to our province's population has simply not kept up.
Stephanie Smith with the BCGEU says the workloads on public servants have only increased, from healthcare to ferries. BC Ferries has been cross-training some crew members and offering signing bonuses for certain positions. Meanwhile, in the healthcare sector, ambulance dispatchers and paramedics continue struggling to keep up with emergency calls.
Competition.
All right, I think they'd stop talking about the issue at hand. Let's open another video. This was from City News. Let's look at another video from City News. Oh, is it the same video? It's the same video, okay. This one is from CBC Vancouver. And I'm gonna guess that they're not gonna tell you anything that you need to know or factual, or ask questions like, why do we still have a liquor monopoly run by the government? We're the only jurisdiction in North America, along with now also Ontario. I thought Ontario was the only place in Canada that's doing this goofy shit, but it's also happening in BC as well. Why don't they just say, you know, common sense things like, why are we the only place in all of the civilized world that sells alcohol like this? And why can't we let the population, why can't we let private entrepreneurs create jobs and make profits? Why are we stealing opportunity from people? They're never going to say any of that. Why would they? They're bought and paid for by the government, these news organizations. So why would they speak up against them? And the average Canadian is too sleepy to understand these things. They're like, well, it's just liquor. Well, dumbass, do you like paying twice as much for your alcohol? Idiot. They're ripping you off left, right, and center. Plus, they don't even want to work anymore. Now they're like, nah, I'm not, $25 to put a bottle in a bag is not enough. I want more. Fucking idiots. Ungrateful people, man. This is such a first world problem. Alright, where's the juice?
Art of B.
Tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
They're showing even the same
For
clips.
liquor. BCGEU members begin targeted job action.
We'll start feeling.
That's how much they're in sync, bro. The first clip, the opening clip, was the same fucking clip, I think. That's how much in sync all these news organizations are. They sing the same fucking tune, bro.
BCGEU members begin targeted job action.
We'll start feeling it by the end of this week.
That could hit BC bars and restaurants.
So now the private bars and restaurants that buy this incredibly overpriced alcohol and they sell it for incredibly overpriced prices to Canadian consumers. Anybody who drives up here from America knows this. The alcohol is incredibly overpriced, and now they can't even buy that incredibly overpriced alcohol to rip off their customers. And now it's not the bar's fault. Of course, they have to make a margin. But man, this whole thing is so corrupt. But not once are they going to say, maybe it's time to consider privatization and not have a corrupt, raging monopoly that seems to want more and more and more.
And it can't
They hate monopolies in the private sector. They'll kick and complain about those, even the general population, but not when it's a public-run monopoly. Like, what business is it of the governments to be in the alcohol business anyways? But nobody asks those questions here. Like, I think I have the first real video that's on YouTube that's even discussing this. But like, a lot of people do talk about this stuff, but like, really nobody does anything about it.
be the money that'll take away who we are.
Would Silverton hereditary chiefs take their message against a massive pipeline?
Let's get to when they talk about the subject at hand. Oh, there's something wrong with my laptop, I think. There you go.
Initial abduction complaint and the alleged assault of the second
workers hit
at 4 BC liquor distribution centers across the province.
out to
This thank you. The BC General Employees Union began targeted job action this afternoon at 4 BC liquor distribution centers across the province. Negotiations with the government broke down last week. The restaurant.
Let's run that back so you guys hear this.
Live for us tonight. Thank you. The BC General Employees Union began targeted job action.
The BC General Employees Union
This afternoon at 4 BC liquor distribution centers across the province. Negotiations with the government broke down.
This kind of thing only happens in a communist country, man. Like, why is there a unionized, government-run alcohol store and nobody else is allowed to sell alcohol? Like, nobody thinks that's corrupt? Like, am I crazy for thinking that's fucking corrupt as fuck? And on top of that, they're holding the people at on top of that, they're holding the people hostage, the alcohol connoisseurs, the people who like going out to party and drink.
Down last week, the restaurant and bar industry, which depend on liquor sales, is watching this very closely.
Like, we would not tolerate this for groceries. I like to at least think that, but maybe I think Canadians would actually. So, never mind, because like I said, Canadians will put up with anything.
Mira Bain's report.
This kind of shit would never fly in America, and that's why I think America is superior to Canada when it comes to policy. The people are kind of like, not everybody, but there are a lot of like crazy people in America. We have them here too, but most people are rude and obnoxious in America, but not so much here. We're much nicer, but like also at the same time, because we're nice, a lot of people here are very, very passive, and they allow things like that, which I can't fucking stand.
BCGEU workers hit the picket lines outside liquor distribution centers at 3:30 Monday, targeting pot and booze, which bring in a lot of revenue.
Oh, so they also have a pot monopoly in BC. We have one here too. So the government also has a monopoly on wholesale distribution of marijuana in Ontario, and I guess they're doing the same thing in BC. Of course they are. So all the private stores here all the private weed stores in Toronto or in Ontario have to buy marijuana from the Ontario Cannabis Store, something like that. It's called something like that. And it's just corrupt all the way down. That's why all the weed that you find at dispensaries sucks and it's overpriced. So I go to the illegal dispensaries or I call my guy. Because government can't do anything right. The only reason they have the proper brands of alcohol is because everybody knows what the proper brands of alcohol are. Like, everybody knows Jack Daniels, so they can order Jack Daniels. But like the weed they get, it's just trash weed. I'm guessing it's also because it's corrupt. They buy from, their uncle or the people they know, or the people in like who pay, like their political donors who pay. Like, you know how it is. You know how fucking shit works in the government. Without getting too much into it, this is how much I can't stand these people. I've watched 10 minutes of or 20 minutes of video, and I've already commented on it 25-30 minutes.
For the province,
there will be no liquor or cannabis products that will come from these distribution centers.
And they're the only distribution centers. And so it's so fucking corrupt, and people are not. Nobody's like protesting this shit. This is how passive Canadians are. They'll just accept it, and eventually these people will just get whatever they want, even though what they're getting already is too much. Like, look at this fat bitch, bro. You think she's gonna? She looks like a greeter at Walmart, and that's what she. Well, that's what she should. That's what she would have been doing if it wasn't for this BCGEU alphabet soup union. She would be a grocery bagger at McDonald's. Oh, sorry. She would be a grocery bagger at Walmart, or she'd be working at McDonald's. That would be her life. But now she's getting paid $25 an hour to put bottles of liquor into bags and cashing people out. And she's still not happy.
There will be no liquor or cannabis products that will come from these distribution centers.
The union
should
is
be
the
all
province's
fired,
largest
bro.
public sector union with 33,000 members working across sectors like liquor and cannabis stores, social work, corrections, and the wildfire service. 4 distribution centers are behind picket lines, including Delta, Kamloops, Richmond, and Victoria. Talks between the union and the BC government have been ongoing from April 6th until they broke down last week. The union says wages are a key issue.
That includes wage increases that allow them to catch up.
I didn't even hear the word wage increases till now, but I already knew that's what it was going to be. Who doesn't want more money? Everybody wants more money. Do you think the regular schmuck who goes to their job, or the guy who works at McDonald's, doesn't think he deserves to get paid more? But they're not able to hold anyone hostage, because if they don't work, they get fired. But these people, knowing they have the general population held hostage, they come up on TV and make these demands. This blackmailing is what it is.
But also wage protections against rates of inflation, and that's the piece really that's missing.
So they want their wages to be adjusted with inflation, but the regular person doesn't get that benefit. You don't get that benefit. I don't get that benefit. Well, perhaps I increase my prices for my business, but that's one of the benefits of owning your own business. If you want to be inflation proof, start your own business. But no, that's difficult, and that takes work and risk. These people don't want to do that. Yet they want all the benefits of being an entrepreneur or CEO. Yet they bag bottles. That's what they do.
For us.
But this is the world we live in now. Everyone thinks they're entitled to your money.
Putting pressure on the restaurant and bar industry, which will only intensify if supplies run short.
I think that's a little bit unfair. I understand.
Nothing in life is fair, friend.
You know what they're trying to accomplish here, but for a small business owner to be faced with that uncertainty as to whether they can get stock.
Some say they'll feel the effects by the end of this week. Others say that will be sooner.
We're very specialized in what we do. We're going to be hit almost immediately. We've had a lot of supply chain issues with American and Scotch whiskeys over the past while, so this is just going to make it just that much worse.
Yeah, you have that supply problem because you have the government running the supply chain. So of course you're going to have that problem. Anything the government gets involved in, they fuck up. Government can't provide basic service properly. That's why when you go to the DMV or Service Ontario, in my case, to renew your driver's license, the service is fucking shit. But you get much better service when you go to McDonald's to get a Big Mac. That's because the people behind the McDonald's counter know they're going to get fired if they fuck up.
Restaurants have been in recovery mode after pandemic restrictions eased, but it's still touch and go.
There's tourists in town.
They're already recovering from a government-caused problem with the lockdowns. And now they're doing that to you. Man, the system fucks with people in so many different ways, yet they don't seem to realize and or get upset enough.
The cruise ships have started again.
If it wasn't for the truckers, God bless the truckers on that protest, man. If it wasn't for the truckers, we would still all be wearing masks here in Toronto. all of us. Like I would still get away with it. I would just tell them I have a medical exemption. Fuck them. But most people comply, man, and we'd still all be wearing masks. The only reason that mask rule went away is because the trucker protests in Ottawa. And the people around here don't seem to realize. They think the government's just being nice now for no reason. They're like, most people are so stuck in the matrix and the system that they can't even put two and two together anymore.
Fairly recently, so we're definitely busier. We're still recovering from COVID stuff. A lot of restaurants are still struggling.
The Minister of Jobs, Economic Recovery and Innovation, Ravi Kahlon, issued this statement about the government's latest offering. It provides an extra lift to the lowest paid workers who are hardest hit during periods of high inflation, with a $2,500 upfront payment to help with costs right now and some additional cost of living protections in the final year. But so far, there is no deal and no end to picket.
Look at these losers, man. You think these guys look talented? This dork, this fucking fat fuck here. Like, they all look like losers, bro. They would have basic ass jobs making $10, $15 an hour if it wasn't for this fucking union garbage. And they're already overpaid and they're still not happy. They still want more. And they're gonna get what they want, and it's gonna be off everybody else's back. We don't get $2,500 more. I'm not getting a check from the government for $2,500 for no fucking reason. So why should you?
Lines and job action. Mira Baines, CBC News, Vancouver.
Several BC and Ontario cities regularly...
That's the end of that part.
The BC General Employees Union.
And this is from CBC Vancouver also. Let's see what they have to say.
Is one of the biggest in the province. Its members are liquor store employees, corrections officers, BC Wildfire Service firefighters, and more. And with negotiations with the province breaking down, job action could be coming.
If we have to do job action, we will be very...
Look at this woman, bro. Do you think she's a talented person? Do you guys look at her and you're like, yeah, this is an excellent person. They deserve more money.
Strategic, very thoughtful.
She looks like every Karen ever.
We want to maximize the impact to the employer, and we want to minimize impact to the public, of course, and to our members.
The union...
You don't want to reduce the impact to the public. You don't give a fuck about the public, lying ass bitch. You wouldn't be protesting if that was the case. You already know you're overpaid. Shut up.
We want to minimize impact to the public, of course, and to our members.
Bullshit.
The union is negotiating in part for higher wages, arguing that with skyrocketing inflation, the current offer from the government adds up to a wage cut.
We're all facing inflation, sweetheart. You should be mad at the Bank of Canada and the federal government for inflation.
The traditionally pro-union...
I was already screaming on top of my lungs when they were giving everybody money. I was like, yo, this is gonna reduce the value of everybody's money. Nobody listened. Idiots. And then they say, oh yeah, you were right. It's hard being so intelligent and seeing all these things, and then everyone around you is an idiot. It's really, really difficult sometimes. I really have a hard time communicating with most people because of it.
Union NDP now facing a delicate balancing act.
The NDP government, of course, has a situation where they're traditionally seen as a pro-labor government. Public sector unions in particular have been a really important part of their base, and they have been on record
as they just all want to buy votes. That's why they just comply with these unions.
You know, these collective agreements should be negotiated.
Because these unionized people, man, these union workers, they understand the power of collective action and voting and swerving politics, and so they do. And unions lobby politicians too, so I'm not surprised, like I said in the beginning and in the middle of the video, that they're gonna get what they want, most likely, and it seems like they are.
25% of members voted in favor of strike action if needed.
Of course they did, bro. Why would they not want to strike? Why would they not want to stay home and still get paid? Who wouldn't want to do that, bro? Of course the 75% voted yes. But shout out to the 25% who didn't, man. Y'all the real G's.
With so many of the jobs...
Even though you're overpaid, and I wish you were actually doing a real job and actually being productive. But it is what it is. Good on you, though, for making the right decision and voting to work.
critical to people across the province, essential service levels would be maintained, including
Okay, I think that's the... Is that the end of it? Now she's talking about some fires.
for the BC Wildfire Service.
Oh, the wildfire service is also associated to them somehow?
Things that immediately impact or could detrimentally impact the safety, health, and welfare of the citizens would not be able to participate in job action. So that's why you don't see paramedics on strike.
The BCGEU also includes some healthcare
Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you for letting the fucking paramedics work.
workers and long-term care home workers. They're not included in this negotiation, but the sector says any future strike in those fields needs to be avoided.
There's so many fiscal pressures on the government that I really sympathize with them. But of course, people working at the front lines deserve to be well paid. So we just need to be prepared.
You'll notice these people use the word deserve all the time. And nobody deserves anything. You deserve nothing. You get what you earn in this life, but that doesn't really work for government or union workers.
The last BCGEU strike was in 2020.
They have their own rules. They've made up their own world, and unfortunately, one way or the other, they get paid. You know, and they have job security, which most people do not have. Like, you can't just strike for your job. You can't just fucking, if you're an accountant, you can't just walk out of the job, stand outside with a picket, and then stand outside with a sign and say, I'm not working today. You're gonna get fucking fired, as you should. But these people, because they know they have a monopoly and they have everybody by the throat, especially the small businesses like the bars and the restaurants, they're fucked. They're gonna get what they want.
12 and included picket lines.
And this is blackmail. It's straight up legalized blackmail.
Of BC liquor stores. This time around, the union is hoping to avoid that by putting pressure on the province with last strike in those.
Look at this fucking nerd, bro. These are the people running shit now, man. What is he? CEO BC Care Providers. Okay, so he's not associated with the government.
I really
he runs a care home
with them.
What does he have to do with anything? Are the fucking home care workers also unionized over there, bro? This country is so fucked.
People working at the front lines deserve to be well paid, so we just
bro, who doesn't deserve to be well paid?
To be prepared.
Who
doesn't think they deserve it? I bet you if you ask the fucking homeless bum down the street who's there every day smelling of piss, I bet you he deserves. I bet you he thinks he deserves to be a billionaire. Does he deserve to be a billionaire?
BCGEU strike was in 2012 and included picket lines of BC liquor stores. This time around, the union is hoping to avoid that by putting pressure on the province with a ban on overtime.
So ours is called LCBO here in Ontario. Our government-run stores are called LCBO, and they're few far between, and the service is terrible, and the liquor is always overpriced. I had a friend of mine visit here from California, and he was shocked at the prices. And then I had to explain to him how our system's corrupt, and the liquor stores are all run by the government. And he was amazed by all that, because he comes from California. And even though California is overpriced, like it's one of the most expensive states in the US, it's still the cost of living is still much lower than here. And the alcohol is much, much, much cheaper. And much wider selection and stores everywhere, different hours. But we can't have those freedoms because our government is corrupt and our people are stupid.
Time and other targeted actions. Michelle Gassoub, CBC News, Vancouver.
So that's the end of the video. As you can see, as I predicted, none of them mention anything about privatization or question the system in any kind of way or challenge the status quo. They're all singing the same tune. They're even running some of the same clips. Our mainstream news outlets are bought and paid for by the government, so obviously they would never speak out against them. But it's about time somebody did, because I haven't seen any good videos on YouTube talking about this. Our politics is stale and old and needs to be refreshed, and I'm here to do it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.